Hello there, good people. There we go. All right. All right, Cherokee, I guess we say hi to your sister as well. So, hi. Alex, do you have your chef coat by chance?
I do. I just thought we only needed it for certain occasions.
Okay, yeah, class.
I see.
We'll stand by here just a minute. Okay, so everybody that's on, a few of you have your cameras on. If the rest of you, thank you, Cherokee, Jay, Maya, Evelyn, Samuel's coming on. If y'all will turn your cameras on, we're gonna get started. Hello, we're gonna get started cutting here in just a second. Let's talk for a minute about the supplies you picked up and put this into some context for the remainder of the semester as well. So today for class and as part of your lab, you should be okay. All right, still at work. Today is going to be almost a repeat of last week. So we're just going to cut a whole bunch of carrots, and you should have picked up a bunch of carrots. You probably picked up a few other things, maybe a little chicken stock, some cream, a little chipotle. Does any of that sound familiar? Got a little cinnamon, a little ground chipotle, a little brown sugar as well. Okay. In Blackboard, there is a recipe in this week's folder. There's a recipe for creamy chipotle carrot soup. It may sound a little unusual. It is not. It's very, very delicious. I realize that it's still 112 degrees outside. And so maybe you really, maybe you don't want to do soup right now, and that's okay. We are not going to make the soup all together in class, but that's just something that you can do with all of the carrots that we're going to cut. So they don't go to waste, or you don't just fill up all of your freezer. Other cuts that we're going to produce going forward, there's recipes that I give you online. Some of those we do in the in-person class. You pick up the product. You can do them at home, but you can already see going forward and now what your lab assignments are. And those are the things I want to focus on here in class while we have this time together. Next week, for example, next week there's not a recipe because next week is your second knife skills test. Okay, and there are some specific, off the top of my head, I want to say they're all videos. You got 5 cuts to do, and I think they're all little videos. I give you a time limit, so stick within that time limit. But there's not going to be a lab assignment to submit next week, just the knife skills test. So when we're together in our Zoom session next week, I can already tell you it's going to be short. We're certainly not going to fill up 2.5 hours, but all we're going to do is basically learn the new cuts that we start next week. So we'll practice squaring off a potato, and then we'll learn about a pont neuf, a bâton, a bâtonnet, julienne, and a fine julienne. We'll cover all that next week. So I am here and I've got my board and knife and I've already peeled some carrots. And so how about Ewan's at least 4 carrots? Hopefully you picked up 4. I think that was on the list for you to pick up 4 carrots. Anybody have a problem with that? You have 4 carrots? Jay, hope you feel better. If you got your carrots, get 4 carrots and go ahead and give them a peel. And then we'll come back together here in just a moment. Peel the carrots. Jay, I'm kind of feeling sort of right now too, but I know the reason why. I stopped by the Walmart this morning on my way, and I don't know if any of you people drink the Dr. Pepper. I drink the Dr. Pepper, like way too much of it, the diet Dr. Pepper, because I have the sugars, I have the diabetes, so I get the diet Dr. Peppers. And there has been a shortage of diet Dr. Pepper so much. I've even looked it up. What's going on with Dr. Pepper? What's happening? And so I had to get gas this morning. I walked in the store just to see, do they have the diet Dr. Peppers yet? And they did. And so I bought, I won't tell you, way too many of the 6-packs of the Dr. Peppers. And when I got to work, I might have drank a little too much of the diet Dr. Peppers. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit fidgety, but it gives you a little bit of a tummy ache too at the same time. So I don't want to make light, Jay, of you feeling poorly, but
it's fine. Mine is my nasal cavity. I've been sneezing and congested, and it's gotten worse within the last hour. I just took some medicine. You can hear my voice. I'm congested now, but I'm here so I can pay attention to see what's that.
So look,
Took some
24-hour Allegra. I take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. I'm probably blowing up my liver and tearing up my stomach. But during the season, mowing lawns and all that kind of stuff, I add to that, the stop at the pharmacy and pick up the Allegra D. Get the D.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Dries you out.
I'm gonna have to try something else because Claritin and Zyrtex, seems like my body's gotten immune to it. So I have to switch it up to something else.
My wife would have to do that. We used to have a dog. We had a dog almost 12 years, and she's allergic, but he was a small dog. It's a long story. She would take, some kind of allergy pill once a day, and about a month and a half or so, the Claritin wouldn't work anymore. She'd go to Zyrtec. A couple of months, Zyrtec wouldn't work anymore. She'd take the Allegra. Couple of months, so always just rotating between 4 or 5 main allergy pills. Allegra's worked for me great for years. I'm allergic to Arkansas.
Me too. Me too. And the pollen down here and in Georgia is the worst.
Well, we all just need to pack up and move to Utah, where it's dry and it's higher elevation. Except, I don't like the cold that much. The cold.
Well, you can always warm yourself up. You can't. When you're hot, you just hot. Take as much clothes off as you want. You're still gonna be hot.
I don't know. You can take some clothes off, and we're just going to stop the conversation right there and not go any further with that.
Kelsey said she wasn't able to pick up any.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
I'm gonna finish this food. I'll be back on camera.
Kelsey, whatever carrots you have, assuming that they're still kind of firm, if you have some carrots, you got carrots from last week, peel peel a couple of carrots so we can get ready to cut. If you don't have any carrots, then there's you won't be able to cut. And Cherokee, you're absolutely right. We're making enough soup. Now the soup's about to go away in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, y'all are really, really going to hate this class. It's going to be the worst class of all because we're going to take a couple of these potato cuts and I'm going to teach you the proper way of making French fries. There's a little bit more to good French fries than just, no, Kelsey, if they're already cut from last week, no, we won't use those same cuts for this week. You just need to pick up some carrots and from the school or somewhere so you can do this week's lab. Okay, I think I mentioned to y'all, if I didn't, let me mention this now. If this is repeating myself, well, repetition is a key to learning. If you submit for an exam, for a lab, for anything, if you submit the same picture for multiple assignments, you know, you took one picture of your diced onion and you're going to use it for week 3 and week 7 and week 9 and your final, I go back and give you 0 for all of it. Or you'll keep 1 grade, but you'll get a 0 for all of the repeats of the same work. Does that make sense? If I give you a diced onion and I keep giving you a diced onion week after week or exam after exam, that might be a little hint that you're probably going to dice an onion next week as part of your second knife skills test. That's something we just have to continue to repeat to get better. If you pull last week's video of diced onion and submit that for your week 8 knife skills test number 2, then you don't want a 0 on that knife skills test. So just because we did something before, we have to do it again. We have to practice and do it again and do it again. Carrot smoothies. So soups, smoothies. Yeah. Let me say this too. While 1 or 2 of you are just finishing up your peeling, I'm about finished with the current grading for this class. Y'all be patient with me as well. There's 20 people in the class, and if we have 1 week's lab where there's 6 different assignments, just that 1 week, if everyone submits, I've got 120 different things to grade. I watch the videos, I read all your words. So, you know, it's a lot, it's quite a bit. And I'm okay with that. Please check your grades. And especially if there's something that looks fishy to you or isn't quite, I'm not quite sure. Why did I get a 0 for this? I'm sending a hint. There will always be some kind of comment. Now, you know, if I give you a 30 out of 30 or a 25 out of 30, you know, an 18 out of 20 or something like that, I usually don't give really very many comments or any comments. The feedback that I give you, regardless of grade, when I give you feedback, it's mostly intended to be corrective, if you can allow me to use that word, just something to help you get better and do better and maybe refocus. Well, the videos, for example, I need the videos. There's 2 issues. So there's a group of you in this class, and it's not just this class, but there's a group of you that aren't embedding your video. You're shooting a video with your cell phone or your computer, and you're uploading raw video into Blackboard. Okay. The problem with that is eventually, and one, I don't remember if it's in this class or the in-person classes, one of your classmates has already experienced being locked out of Blackboard, not able to submit any more assignments because you bloated your Blackboard with all of the video. There's a finite amount of memory. At the top of course content, our course content folder, at the top, there's a file that's called embedding YouTube videos in a Blackboard assignment. The intention is for you, and it doesn't have to be YouTube, but you need to upload your videos in a video hosting program. I use YouTube. It's easy. It's free. And then there's a way, just follow those directions. There is a way to embed your video in the assignment. Your video stays in YouTube, not on Blackboard. So when I go back and view it, I'm seeing your YouTube, not raw video in Blackboard. Okay. That applies to a handful of you. With that in mind, this applies to another handful of you. You have to make sure that your video is public. That very last screen, when you upload your video into YouTube, you have an option of private. You have an option of private video, unlisted video, or public. You need to make it public. You can go back and change it to private after it's been graded. But if you have a private video, I can't see it. I can't get into it. So for those of you this past week in I think your week 6 assignments, it might have been this week, where I've graded so far, I've given you a 0 because there's nothing there for me to grade. And I've given you in the feedback, in the notes section, kind of what I mean. You go back to your video and change it to public and just send me an email. Hey, I made the change. I'll go back in and grade it and change the grade. And if that doesn't make sense, send me a text or an email, something like that. I'm happy to help you out. Jay, what's up? How?
You answered the question that I was going to
Okay.
ask.
Yeah.
The video.
Yeah.
I'm going to change mine now.
Okay, good. Thank you. There's several of you. Don't live with just that 0. Lastly, before we all cut, last thing, you should have all received an email probably about Tuesday morning. And this should be very helpful to some of you. I'm calling it, I've never done this before. I'm calling this Amnesty Week. Instead of giving you, so if things are submitted late, some of you already know this, if things are submitted after the deadline, after the due date, I give you half of the credit that you earned. So if you really made an 18 out of 20 on a quiz, I go back and you earn 9 points because it's a 50% point deduction for late submission. Okay, we can't be late in our business. When we have a catering function and this wedding is ready to go, we have to serve on time. We can't tell the wedding party, well, I'm a little bit behind, or I had a busy week, so come back tomorrow and we'll do your wedding tomorrow. You know, our business doesn't work that way. So I know it may be a little bit harsh, but there you go. This week and this week only, you have until 11:59. If you submit at 12:01 Monday morning, that's still late. Do we understand? Give me a thumbs up, or I got it. I see Caleb's thumb, Jay. Yes, we got it. This week only, anything that's past due that you still need to do, I will remove the point deductions and award you full credit, or the full credit that you earn for the assignment. But that has to be done by midnight Sunday. Anything that's past due. Okay, I'm calling it grade forgiveness, or just Amnesty Week. Okay. This is midterm week. And so Monday morning, very first thing when I go into my office, all of the week 1 through week 7 assignments that have not been submitted, the grades will be entered as 0. And then I'll be able to upload to the registrar's office actual grades, not some made up grade or a partial grade or anything like that. Okay. So this gives you the opportunity to keep your grade up if you're a little bit behind, and then we can start the second half of the term on better footing, if that makes sense. Again, any questions or concerns or problems, just shoot me a text or an email. All right. So I'm going to put in the chat here, in no particular order, these are the cuts that I want to see with your carrots. I want an entire carrot in this cut, not just, don't just give me 2 or 3 little cuts. I want to see the entire carrot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chef,
Yes, who's that? Oh, Jay. Yeah.
on the grade book, when you do it online on the computer, you can't scroll down to see the actual grades. In order for me to see the grades and the comments, I have to use the app to find it, to be able to scroll and actually read what you put in there. Because otherwise it just shows me what's at the top and I can't scroll down for some reason. And I tried it on my tablet and my laptop.
That sounds like an IT question. I've not heard that before, but you can get it on your phone.
Yes, I can do it on the app. I've downloaded the app and I'm able to see the comments on my phone. But if I try to look online, I can't scroll to look at anything.
You know, a funny thing is that a lot of or several students have trouble with the app. And, you know, desktop works just fine. Laptop works just fine. Tablet works just fine. But I can't do anything. I can't submit anything. And the app's just not working. I make sure that, you know, those people have downloaded the correct Blackboard app. You just Blackboard in your Google Play or the Apple Store. There's several different Blackboard things, and there's only one app that's the correct app. So, Jay, you've got the correct app. I have no idea why your desktop, laptop, tablet wouldn't also be working. But we can, as long as you can still get those comments, at least you can get them from your phone. We can spend a few days and get with the IT people and see what's what. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was working when I first started school, and then all of a sudden I wasn't able to scroll. So
Have you added any software or any other programs that might have caused the, you know, sometimes?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But my app started working when I downloaded it on my new phone, and the other part on actual laptop stopped working. I was like, "What's that?" So,
As long as you can get it. Okay, everybody, you should see these 4 cuts, 1 whole carrot and a rondelle. Now, I'm going to do one more thing. So the rondelle, I want to be a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. Not bigger, not thinner. The obliques, I want at 45 degrees. Paisan, I want 1/8 of an inch thick. And the losange, I want 1/8 of an inch and 45-degree angles. Now, if you've practiced, if you've gone back to last week and this week's videos, that should be pretty clear. And so now I'm just going to tell you, move your cameras down to your cutting boards, and in no particular order, I just want to see you cut. What we've done in the in-person class is exactly the same thing. I just give you the 4 cuts and you go, and I'll bounce around, and I'll talk to you as we go. So move your cameras down so I can see your cutting boards there, everybody. Good. Samuel, about half the thickness. There, you got some pretty thick ones there. We're shooting for about 1/4 of an inch.
All right, Jeff.
Good. Caleb, good. Don't make yours any larger. You're looking to be right about the right spot. Very bueno. Alex, double check the angle of your knife as you're cutting in down to the board. You're actually angling in just a little bit. You're angling in slightly, like you're going underneath your guide hand. There, that looks better. Yes, sir. Yeah, the other 2 sides had a little wonky angle a little bit anyway. That's okay. No. Terry, be sure that you're using your guide hand to actually guide the knife. The more we get used to that and get the feel for that guide hand against the knife, then that hand can actually guide, and that's where you'll determine the thickness of each cut. Okay, yeah, Cherokee. So in Blackboard, the Zoom is recorded, and then I run it through YouTube and then upload it into Blackboard later the night of or the next day. So last week's Zoom is in Blackboard, but you can also look at starting last week. It's exactly the same videos in 2-week blocks. So week 6 and week 7 have these carrot cuts, and it's the same videos. I shot these a couple of years ago at the school. It's me. It's kind of stretched out because I do the rondelle, and it's a separate video for just the rondelle, and I have 3 different camera angles. Well, for kind of educational purposes, I give you all 3 camera angles in their entirety instead of cutting and splicing it together like this was for TV. So you can check. It's under in each week's folder in Blackboard, the same place where you get your essay assignments and things like that, your key terms. there's a module or there's a folder, a file in there that just says lab slash demo or just lab assignment. In that folder, that's where all of these demos are, the separate ones for each week. Is that what you were asking? Great, great. So Samuel, that's looking really good. It is easier to square off your carrot, potatoes, whatever. You've got cut the carrot in half. So you've got the narrower half and you got a thick half. Then yeah, there you go. That's going to be a whole lot easier, more manageable to work with at this stage. Yeah, much better. Very nice, very nice.
And then from here, it's an eighth of an inch, correct?
For the Paisan, is that what you're cutting?
Yes.
Yes. Remember, y'all, the Paisan here, you can see Evelyn is spotlighted now. So you see Evelyn big on the screen, and up there on the corner of her cutting board, that's pretty decent looking Paisans right there. I call it a thin Scrabble tile. You're basically making a Scrabble tile. And right now, Evelyn, if it's not perfect square, that's okay. We just got introduced to these cuts last week, right? So just more practice, and we're learning. I want to see technique, and I want to see yes, good. Yeah, and what you're doing, Evelyn, I like that. So even if it's a little on the thin side, using what's stuck to the knife as the guide for the next cut kind of ensures that you're ending up with consistent cuts. And that is, that's more of our goal right now than hitting exactly the precise size. We'll get there before the semester's over. I would like to see consistency. Guidance, you need to use guide hand to actually guide the knife. So you turn your hand around, your left hand, turn your hand around so that your long finger, your bird finger is right up against the knife. That is, yeah, lift your hand just a little bit so that you're curling your fingers under. That's a little better, a little bit. But those fingers need to be all the way up against the knife. That's what we call the guide. You're guiding your knife with that guide hand. You're securing and guiding both at the same time. It's awkward, feels fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Chef.
Uh-huh.
Chef, did you see my question in the chat?
So I said this already. I said this before. We are not going to use this stuff in the Zoom right now. It's stuff for you to use after making all of these cuts to produce a soup. And I've given you the recipe for that soup. I gave you the recipe and I gave you the ingredients. So, yeah. Alex, when we do the oblique, so you've got nice angles. Okay, so good job on the angles. We generally leave the carrot round. This is not a cut that we do after squaring off the carrot. So the rondelle stays round, the oblique stays round. So it's not bad. It's unusual. Now you do have something a little more like a pyramid instead of the bodybuilder oblique. Okay. Terry, no, just keep cutting. Good.
Chef, this is guidance. I'm needing a little more guidance on squaring my carrot. I just didn't really get that concept last week when you showed it to us.
All right, let me show you. So everybody just keep cutting. And I'm going to come back here. To me. All right. So here's a little piece of carrot. Okay, I'm gonna just use the bigger end, and I've already peeled these. Okay, so I've got a narrow end and a fatter end. Okay, I want to take off. I also have kind of an imperfection, a little crack. That's okay. Okay, I want to take off a flat part, which is just a little bit removed. Can you see how thin that is? But it covers the whole length of the carrot, or this section of carrot. Now I have a flat place, so my carrot's not going to bounce around everywhere. All right, I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, I'm looking to make sure that if I look directly over my knife, all I see is the spine of my knife. I don't see the face of the blade. If I see the face of the blade, then I'm at an angle. Okay, so that's very important. I need to see just the spine. Be straight up and down with just the spine. And my guide hand is doing two things. It's supporting the ingredient I'm cutting, it's supporting the carrot, but this finger is right up against the knife. That's what's guiding the knife. That's why we call it the guide hand. Okay, and then out goes, there we go, out goes my cut. And I'm gonna move those to my waste bowl. Turn this one more way. Now look, I have a cut side. Let me give that a little. I have a cut side. That was my first cut. And I have a side I'm going to trim off. So it's the opposite end. Okay, I want my knife straight up and down. I just see the spine. Okay, and I want the spine and this cut side to be exactly parallel. Exactly, not at any kind of wedge, any kind of other taper. I want to be far enough in the carrot, okay, that I'm removing enough to have a whole flat side. I'm not just trimming off the fat piece. See how there's a little space right here? Okay, I need to be far enough into the carrot that I'm squaring, I'm creating that flat side on the whole side of the carrot. Okay, straight up and down. Double check my angle, be parallel, and then cut away. And lean it over one more time. Now I'm just going to repeat the same thing on this last cut. Okay. Spine, cut side, my blade straight up and down, everything parallel with this right here. That's all I'm looking at. And to be a good square, I'm also kind of looking back here. I can see, I can tell where I'm about to cut, and I want this to be a square, not a rectangle. Line everything up. And cut away. Well, that was kind of pretty terrible. Well, that's why I still have a rounded piece right up here. Still a little bit rounded right here. But now I'm squared off, see? And from here, I'm going to do a paisan, for example. I want 1/8 of an inch little tiles. You see? Bing, bong, bang. Now I want to do the losange. And so I'm going to cut out about 1/8 of an inch size planks out of here. Okay, I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle. And then, you know, there's a number of ways to see this, but I want to cut off these kind of Arkansas flag diamonds. And if I've done this right, done this well, then I've got nice equal diamonds. And here's the Mitsubishi symbol. But there you go. So guidance, did that help at all?
That was awesome, Chef. Is this about right? I finally got a little definition to my square there.
Yeah, so that definition is going to come the more practice there is. So I'm going to say for right now, I like to use my little facetious term. It's close enough for government work.
Gotcha. Chef.
Evelyn, those look good. You're kind of breezing right through them too. So those look pretty good.
Hey, Chef.
Who's that? That sounds like Jay. Is that you?
Yes. Can you do the diamond cut for me, the last one? What you have Evelyn doing, what Evelyn's doing right now?
Yeah, I just did it. Did you miss it?
I missed the last ending of it.
Okay.
I'm trying to do it myself.
All right. So let's go right back here. I have this is not a very good one. So I have my plank. I just call it a plank, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cut off my first little 45 degrees, and I set that off to the side. Now there are two ways really to see this. I want my spine and I want what I just cut to be exactly parallel. And I want to see, so I cut here. Before I cut here, I want to see an imaginary line that goes from this point to this point, straight line. An imaginary line from this point to this point, a straight line. And I need those to intersect exactly at 90 degrees. Okay, if I cut this too narrow, let me show you. If I cut this too narrow, now when I lay it on its side, can you see? Oh, my angle's not really the greatest. I have a straight line this way, but my straight line from this point to this point is now kind of like this. My diamond's off. Okay, that's one way of knowing how wide I need to make this cut. The other way is when I cut that 45-degree angle and I cut this off. Your diamond needs to be cut whatever height the plank is this way. That's how wide I need to make the cut.
Okay.
The width and the height need to be the same. And when they are, shazam, point to point, point to point, and they line up just right.
I think I got it. Chef.
Looks good, Chef.
Hold on, I'm looking for you. There you are. Yes. Yes, Jay. So the shape is all right. The next thing we'll work on is the thickness of that plank. And so eventually we're going to get thinner and thinner.
Okay.
Right now, let's get the size, let's get the shape right. And what you just cut and what you just showed is spot on.
Thank you.
Cherokee, you're getting that. So I just saw your message. That's fine. What you have is fine. That's good for the losange. Again, we're eventually, as we go throughout the semester, I'm going to ask for the planks to get thinner and thinner. But what you've done is just right. So it looks like you understand it. Looks like you've got it. So happy days. Do your happy dance. You don't have to dance on camera. Oh, well, good. There, give us a happy dance. Now, this is recorded, you know. We are going to use this against you in a court of law. I'm kidding. Okay, Evelyn, stop for just a minute. Okay, move those three obliques that you just cut. Move them up kind of close to your camera and stand them up. Stand them up on your board, right where your knife is. Right there. That's good. Yeah, right there. Right there. Okay. Now I want you to notice, and everybody else can listen to this too. There are two aspects of a good oblique. One is the angles need to mirror each other. Okay. And what Evelyn has right here are pretty good. That's pretty good angles. Now, I don't know can you guys see my cursor? You probably can't, can you? No, you can't. That's fine. I call this let's call this the oblique tops. Okay, the pointy part of the obliques. The pointy part really shouldn't come to an exact sharp point. There should be a little bit of space. Okay, notice these three, that little space, that flat space of carrot between the two angles where the angles come together. Do you see how all three are different sizes? The second part, the second challenge of an oblique is cutting it so that those tops are the same width each and every cut. Make sense? Give it a try. Now, Alex, that's a very nice display right there. You take your losange and do kind of a herringbone design. I like that. That's creative. Good job.
We're submitting photos, not video this week, right, Chef?
I believe, I spent more time just before class looking at next week's the skills test, so I could talk about video. I believe that's right. I think this week is just submitting photos. In fact, I think I believe there are 3 photos, and you have a kind of a lab sheet to print. And on that lab sheet, there are, I believe it's just these 4, but there are silhouettes. And I want you to put at least enough cuts to cover each of those silhouettes with each of the cuts. And then you can snap a picture of that. That's your second upload. I know the third upload is you with your cuts, you in uniform. Okay. Uniform needs to be hat, your chef coat buttoned all the way up, and jewelry. If you have some, you shouldn't have any. Be mindful of the earrings and the rings on your fingers. Single, like a wedding band, no stud wedding band. Those of you ladies that might be wearing an engagement ring, for example, that has a stud on it or something, that needs to come off. The studs can become a physical contaminant. Terry, yes, this all looks good. Yeah, everybody else can see this as well. So we were just talking about the oblique. Move your board again, Terry. Move your board the other way so we can all kind of get a little better. Yeah, look. So everybody look, there are some differences, but look at the tops of these obliques, and there's more that's the same size, the same width, than they are different. And that's what we're after. The big challenge is going to be really doing this cut with these big jumbo carrots. In the restaurant, we're not necessarily purchasing these ginormous steroid, they don't have steroids in them, but these just massive jumbo carrots that's more like a sweet potato than a carrot. That's not generally the carrot that we order in the restaurant world, especially if we're going to put an oblique on as a side dish on the menu. They'll be the smaller, more slender, more like the carrots that you're going to get at Walmart. And that gives us a smaller, single bite-sized piece. And we get really, really pretty oblique carrots. Terry, notice, everybody pay attention to this too, because more and more you're going to hear me say consistent consistent, consistent, consistent. Look at the top right-hand corner of your screen and you can see good losange, the good shape. It's a very good shape, Terry. You did the, so A+ there, except there are so many different sizes, different thickness. Okay. We have got to work on, everybody, we've got to work on making each cut as you've got to cut like a machine. You've got to cut every cut the same shape, the same size, the same thickness. That's what I mean whenever I say consistent, consistent, consistent. If the food we cut, we've talked about this with a diced onion, for example, the ingredients that we cut, say we're going to saute this, the ingredients that we cut them the same size, they will cook at the same rate. When I put it in my mouth, whatever it is, a spoonful of sauteed mixed vegetables that are all cut the same size, they're going to feel the same in my mouth versus all kinds of odd shapes or different thicknesses. At different thicknesses, the little bitty super thin pieces are going to burn and the super thick pieces are going to be undercooked, even raw, while we cook to the majority. And so when I take a bite, I'm going to have burnt, mush, I'm going to have raw crunch, and I'm going to have some that's going to be very pleasing and perfect. And so we want to make all of it perfect. Does that make sense? Everybody? I hope. Good, good, good. Look at it. Evelyn's making her little parquet floor tile design. Good. It's hard to have a perfect snowflake because of different sizes, and that's okay. There's good. Evelyn, good. Alex, good. Thanks for the shingle as well. That's something that we're going to cover later, shingling for plate presentation and whatnot. Caleb probably finished 20 minutes ago and has just been waiting patiently. So good. Caleb, look, kind of the same thing what I was just saying. You know, look right here in the center of your board, and the smaller Paisan compared to the larger ones. Those 6 larger Paisan appear to be pretty much the same thickness. These smaller Paisan, you've got a couple of pretty thick ones, you've got a couple of really thin ones, but the majority are all the same. Here's what I mean by consistency. The thinner pieces are going to turn to mush or might even burn, and the thicker pieces are going to be a little bit undercooked as we saute all the rest. And it's going to taste fine, but the mouthfeel is just going to be off a little bit. And so trying to achieve, you know, consistency, consistency, consistency. That's the word I say over and over to everybody. All right. Now there shouldn't be a specific, do y'all see just kind of everybody? Or do you see one big, I turned the spotlight off, so we should just kind of focus on everybody all at once. If you're still cutting, keep cutting. That's fine. Let me say a couple of words to everybody, to the whole peanut gallery at one time. Okay. All right. So I should have blowed up on your screen. Sorry, I don't look any better. Ball head, shiny head. It's going to happen to all of you. It happens in this business. You work over a char grill for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years and burns all your hair off. I think that's what happened. Actually, what happened is I got so smart that it just pushed all of my hair out. That's what I'm sticking with. That's the story I'm going to stick with. How about that? Listen, a couple of things. Really good. The cuts that you're doing and where we are. Think about this. You probably had never heard the word losange, never heard the word paisan 2 weeks ago. Dicing an onion, some of you may really be practicing and you might already be a little bit sick of it. Hopefully, the more you dice an onion, for example, you'll be able to recognize, I certainly do, I recognize improvement. And so when I just simply give you full credit, for example, you got a 20 out of 20 on your dice onion. Nobody is doing a perfect diced onion, but the progress that you've made from the last time you did it is exactly where I want you to be. If you cut exactly the same in 2 weeks, I'm not going to give you 20 out of 20. Do you see what I'm saying? We're all making progress, and we're making progress at different rates, and that's okay. This is not a competition class. This is you learning at your pace. In some ways, we need to pick up the pace a little bit because we can't keep just working on these carrots. Next week, yes, there's a knife skills test, number 2. But we also learn a whole new set of cuts. You're going to find out next week, probably, and you might even thank me for it. You're going to find out why we've spent time with carrots these last 2 weeks. These carrots, I know they're hard to work with. They're firm, they're dense, and you have to work to get the knife to go through the carrots. Next week, you're going to start cutting potatoes. We're going to cut potatoes for 5 weeks. We're going to cut potatoes, and then the middle of that, in the middle of that, week 10. So 3 weeks from tonight. I'll remind you of this, but while it's on my mind, I just want to go ahead and tell you, you have to pick up your ingredients for week 10. You have to pick them all up before we have our Thursday night Zoom. Okay. We are not going to cut anything. We're going to taste. And we're going to do one taste experiment, and you will find out genetically, you will find out if you're a super taster or not and what that means. And then we're going to taste a bunch of cheese, and we're going to taste it all together. And you're going to love it, and you're not going to love some of it maybe. And I hope nobody throws up into their mouth. But so far in 5 years, I've had one student just kind of come close. Nobody's blown chunks yet. So you're in good hands. I picked good cheese. It's going to be a really nice, that's a really nice experience. That's one that everybody looks forward to and remembers and still talks about. Okay. Last thing I want to mention before we kind of cut loose and be done for the night. It is registration time. Registration opened up Tuesday. There are classes that are already full. Okay. So with that said, I encourage you, hopefully you have received some communication from whoever your advisor is. It'd be one of the chefs at the culinary school. And you've already put in the chat, just say yes or no. how many of you have already registered for spring semester? If you'll just put in the chat, yes, no. Caleb, good, thanks. All right. Samuel, yes, you are registered. That's what we did. Aaron, okay. Evelyn, fine. Guidance, all right. Okay, Terry, maybe before the weekend's out, or maybe even before the night is out tonight, do me a favor, do yourself a favor. I want you to log into the portal, okay? And I want you to check your schedule for spring 2022, because registration wasn't open Monday. And so Renee may have marked everything down and may have taken notes and stuff. I'm telling you, I've mentioned this before. As the associate dean of the culinary school, she's got other things on her plate, and so oh, she did it Tuesday. Fine, okay, you're taken care of then. Good. Those of you that have not registered, and there's just a few of you, I don't want to do public group advising, but I'm happy to help you get registered. If you're a culinary arts major, I strongly encourage the following, more or less the following schedule. You need food 2, you need stock soups and sauces, you need meat and seafood. If you've come to UAPTC and you do not have previous college, your gen ed subjects, if you don't have a degree, for example, I encourage you to take at least one general education, Comp 1, Comp 2, your math. If you have not had math yet, that's the subject that I encourage you to take in this second semester. Food 2, stock soups and sauces, meat and seafood, and your math credit. You need math done, gone, behind you, out of the way before you take restaurant industry. And you can wait and take restaurant industry third semester, fourth semester, that's fine. But if you're trying to graduate in 4 semesters, this second semester needs to have 5 classes, and that 5th class can be product ID. I think some of you, I run into Caleb all the time. Some of you are already in product ID. Okay, fine, good, great. Healthy foods and nutrition, intro to hospitality. I would wait on restaurant industry until you have already had your math credit. Those are the classes. So I would suggest professional beverage and wine studies. That's another kind of 5th option. Food 2, stock soups and sauces, meat and seafood, your math credit, and maybe intro to hospitality or healthy foods and nutrition, or product ID. And so if you're ready to do that, I can help you do that. I can get you registered even now, even here over the phone, via text even. We can text as the night goes, or check in with someone tomorrow or next week. Registration opens for new students Friday the 15th, 1 week from tomorrow. You guys, if those that aren't registered, you need to be registered before then, because I'm telling you, as of yesterday, certainly as of today, yesterday being only the 2nd day, I filled 2 classes. So registering other students, I know of at least 3 or 4 classes at the culinary school that are completely closed. And there will not be overfilling a class. There's not going to be exceptions made, and there are no guarantees that new sections will open up. Certainly not this early in registration. So, listen, listen to Chef. Chef is wise. get registered, the few of you that haven't done that yet. Does anybody have particular questions or complaints or criticisms or anything? Those of you that haven't registered yet, and so I know some of you, for different reasons, some of you really dig online classes. Maybe this class was a little bit more or different than what you had expected. There is online food too, and it's going to be something that people don't expect. We will be cooking, just like now we're cutting all together. We will be cooking all together. And so we're meeting in a 2.5 hour block, but the expectation will be the hour and a half before we ever get on the Zoom. You will mees that week's lab. And I'll have a prep list, just the same as we experience in the restaurant world. You'll work off of a prep list to mees your station. And then we'll get on the Zoom with your stuff already meased, and away we cook. Okay. Evelyn, you will have to register with an instructor. You'll have to register with an advisor at CAMI. You can't add your own culinary classes. I believe you can. I think you can add your general education, but anything at CAMI, I believe it's locked. And so you have to go through myself. You have to go through another instructor. Email, call. Listen, we're ending our lab now. We're ending early. I don't have anything else for us. I'm happy to sit down and we can text. And I can text with everybody that still needs to register. We can text kind of all at one time, and that keeps this kind of private. We could also stay on Zoom. I can turn the recording off, and we could private message. Y'all know how to message using the chat, but you communicate directly with me, not publicly. We could do that as well, but I'm happy to help anybody and everybody, and I can do it right now. Or there you go, Evelyn. That might even be cleaner. If y'all just text me after we're done, then I can get y'all set up. If you're ready. If you're not ready, that's okay. That's fine. Anything from anybody else?
I did have a question, Chef.
Yeah, Caleb, go ahead.
Is the food or is the beverage and wine a required class?
Yes, professional beverage and wine studies is a required class. Now, let me make a statement about that class. Okay, we have all kinds of people that attend the culinary school. We have people of different faiths, different religions, different cultures and ethnicities. We have people that are recovering from things. We have people of many different ages, including people under the age of 21. And so it is a required class, but Mr. Lipsmeyer, the guy that teaches the class as a master sommelier, it's not a wine tasting class, although that is a component of the class. And in lieu of wine tasting, for the myriad of people that have all those various issues, if I were to take the class, I'm of a religious preference that I would not consume alcohol, not even a sip and spit kind of setting, which this can be. No, that doesn't work for me. And so Mr. Lipsmeyer uses a variety of teas, fruit juices, some vinegars on those. And I think there are 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 of the entire semester's classes where there's the wine tastings. You're going to learn about grapes, and you're going to learn about how wine is made, and you're going to learn about, pH of soil and and hydration and what goes on in this mountain range versus what goes on in that mountain range. He is a wealth of geography, of ethnicity, of cultures, and all of those things that are wrapped around wine making. And that's the majority of the class. The wine tastings is a portion. And during that portion, there are alternatives for those that can't consume any alcohol. Those options are there. So if there's further apprehensions or questions, the first person to talk to would be Mr. Lipsmeyer. He's very, very easy to talk to about this. And, anybody can settle any kind of issue. He's pretty amiable to work around lots and lots of people and things. And so there you go. Evelyn, hopefully that I just answered that question. You do not have to be 21 because you have many classmates who, for a variety of reasons, can't consume alcohol. And so he has a method that gives you the same palate experience without consuming alcohol. For those that are under 21, for those that have religious issues or ethnic issues, and I hate using the term issue, that's the only thing popped in my head. For any reason you can't consume alcohol, he's got you covered. What else?
Chef, I had a question about an assignment. I don't know if this is the right time to ask.
Sure, go ahead. If you have a question, chances are one or two of your classmates share the question.
So when we made the curry, and you told us to upload the image of our finished product in our uniform, I messed up and only posted it for the assignment C. So I was seeing, do you need me to redo A and B?
You mean, remind me, you didn't do A and B, you only did C?
So I guess the thing is that C contained a step that was from a previous class that wasn't removed from the assignment. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay, I'll look back at the assignment then. Get back
I
to
believe
you.
it was spaghetti or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So we did curry instead of doing, turning would have been chiffonade basil. We would have used the garlic. We would have used the onion. We would have used the concassé tomato to make a Neapolitan. And that, from previous semesters, we did a Neapolitan. You make some pasta, and this Neapolitan sauce, and that was the assignment. I didn't change that sheet. I didn't change the form to be curry. So everybody submitted the picture of their curry, and yes, that's fine. That's right. You didn't need to go make pasta and make a Neapolitan sauce. Is that what you were asking, Alex?
Essentially, yeah. I didn't upload anything for A and B. I uploaded it to C for some reason, assignment C. So like currently I have zeros for A and B.
Then send me an email, okay, just as a reminder, because I'm in the middle of all this and I've got almost 70 students. So send me an email and I can reopen A and B. Does that make sense? If you still have, so, I remember we did our cuts together. You should have snapped pictures. If you still have those pictures, great, you're golden. You can just go back and then upload those. I'm assuming you have a 0 under lab A and a 0 under lab B for that week. That's the thing. Remind me, I have to remove the 0. I have to reopen the assignment. And so to get that done before, and now, that raises something else. Y'all listen very carefully to this. Anybody that needs something reopened, especially this week, y'all don't wait till Sunday. And y'all certainly don't wait until 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock Sunday night, because I turn my phone off and go away and I go to bed and I like to sleep and I don't dream about you people and anything like that. And so if you need me to reopen something, if there's a hiccup, it would really be great for you and me if you kind of set your own deadline to have this stuff done by like Saturday night. Then you can be sitting there putting some stuff in late work during the Arkansas game that I don't even care about. And I get an email, Chef, there's an oopsie, can you reopen this? I get that message, I take care of it. If you wait till, 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Sunday night, you're out of luck. And in semesters past, when work was submitted late, it was just submitted late. I've never done this amnesty week kind of thing before. So y'all take advantage of it, and to take full advantage of it, I would encourage you to set your own deadline to have this stuff done by Saturday night. So I will check my emails. I will check my phone a few times on Sunday, but all bets are off after Saturday night, even though I gave you the deadline of Sunday night.
And one more thing. So that refers to just assignments that have zeros, or like if we turned in a late assignment, is that?
If you turn in a late assignment right now, you turn in a late assignment this week, turn in an assignment for your key terms from week 3. I will remove there will be no late penalty, that 50% penalty. Now, before midterm grades, I'm going to do my best, y'all, to work with me here. I'm going to do my best to even go retro assignments that have already been submitted and counted late. I'm going to do my best to go update those, but I might miss some. And so y'all don't give me grief, and y'all don't cry about that. You should have done it on time in the first place. Now I said it. Said my piece, counted to 3. I'll do my best to get those. Might even be safe, might even be best for you to check your grades and maybe even send me a little, Chef, these were already graded, but as per our week 7 Zoom class, would you update the grades, or would you double check this assignment and be specific? Don't just say check my key terms. Check my week 2 key terms, check my week 4 quiz, blah, blah, blah. Clear as mud? What else? Anything else?
One last question on jewelry.
Yes.
I've got, seeing if these are all right. They're just, one of them's just stamped. They don't have any studs or anything on them. Are they cool? This one's just a plain band.
So,
Then,
okay. So Caleb, this is how I'm going to answer it. I'm going to be very specifically vague. Okay, I'm going to tell you in advance. I'm going to be specifically vague, and I'm going to put this in context that's maybe a little bit personal to me. The standard, as per ServSafe, the National Restaurant Association, that is kind of our governing sanitation standard. It will even say in the current sanitation standard, the intention is a wedding band, but it does not say wedding band. It says single, which is 1, single solid band is acceptable. Now, that's the standard. I have a wedding band. And can you see it? Many years ago, on the top side, many years ago, I got an infection. I didn't have a cut. Terry, are you talking about earrings? We'll wait for her to answer. I had no cut. I had no burn. I had no nothing. But here's basically what had happened. My ring never came off. That's my wedding ring. My ring never came off. In the chicken gack, in the beef gack, in the vegetables, in the onion juice, in the garlic, in the bread, in the salad bar, in grilling the steaks, in all of the prep and everything that we handle with our hands, the sanitizing solution, the dishwashing detergent, okay, everything at a microscopic level leaves a residue. And I think just over the years, enough had collected from a little, you can't see it, little germs, that it started eating through my skin and it got infected. And so ever since then, my wedding band is in my wife's jewelry box. And she doesn't worry about anything. I'm bald, fat, and ugly. And, there's, whether I have a ring on or not, there's no hint or chance of anything and anything and anything. Okay. My personal opinion is we shouldn't have anything at all. Because whether there's an infection or not, that told me that was a good sign that I have germs that you can't see. You don't see salmonella. You don't taste E. coli. You don't see or smell Listeria, but it's there and it's on your hands. And it grows when it gets underneath things. Look at my fingernails. I don't bite them. I cut my nails sometimes a couple of times a week. I've got to have that feel of no nails. Now there's nowhere for any food or ingredients or chemical. There's nothing. There's no place. If I'm washing my hands correctly, I have nowhere for any of those germs to gather. I'm now a safer instrument when I'm doing work for other people. So, Caleb, that's my answer, to be specifically vague. The standard is, and the school will adhere to this standard, one, a single solid band. I'm a proponent of no bands, no nothing. But I'm not going to dock your grade for it if you have a single solid band on.
And I may need to resubmit my Part C from this week because I did have my two bands on.
Shoot me an email or a text so I can reopen it.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody that's so we've got this earring conversation going on in the chat at the same time. Let me tell you about the earrings. So again, I'm going to be equally specifically vague as I was with Caleb. And the standard is, again, going back to your applied food service sanitation and the National Restaurants Association Serve Safe program, whether you've covered this yet or not, maybe you haven't, the standard is one single stud pair of earrings. So if that's a diamond, if that's just a little ball, something. Nothing that dangles, no hoops, no hooks, nothing that dangles below the earlobe. stud only, one pair. Shouldn't have earrings going up all over the place. Okay, those need to be removed. And if you can't take them out, if you have something that's surgically implanted, then it needs to be covered. And yes, you have classmates who come to class in person with Band-Aids that cover things, even the little studs that get surgically implanted, the things that people do to prevent migraines and stuff like that. Okay, fine, but you got to cover them up. Okay, so Evelyn, this is where I'm going to get really vague. And in the same vein as what I mentioned about my wedding ring, think about this. How many of you that have earrings, that pierced ears or otherwise, how many of you have ever in your life lost an earring? You come back from church or you come back from work and you realize, where is it? Now imagine that happens and you're in the middle of prep for service and you were the one assigned to make that 80 gallons of mashed potatoes and you're working over the steam kettle and you got the potatoes going and you're mixing and you're doing whatever, and you realize you go to the restroom or something and you realize I've got an earring missing. Do you really realize what has to happen in the restaurant? It's almost like everything stops. Your kitchen and you, we are surgeons. Everything that we do, we carry germs, we carry chemical hazards, we carry physical hazards. Our hands carry biological hazards. And if you lose earring, the last thing you want is one of your guests to bite in to their mashed potatoes and find your earring or the back of your earring. And so, again, the standard is one single pair. Everything else needs to be covered up. My personal preference, my kitchens would be no earrings because they can come out. And if they can come out in the same way that no fake eyelashes, no acrylic nails, no nail polish, no fakey nails, no press on or glue on or whatever. No, we are pretty plain people in a commercial kitchen. And we end up that way. We work in extreme temperature settings and all of that sort of thing. So I don't know. What does that raise more questions or concern?
Yes, Chef. I just want to know, so we're not uploading or showing you what we actually cooked as far as the soup this week?
No. Nope.
Oh, gotcha.
I just gave you stuff and a recipe. The ingredients go along with the recipe that I gave you. Then you can use all these cuts. Freeze it for colder weather if you want to. I'm sarcastic when I say just throw it out if you don't want it. Don't do that. Make the soup and go give it to your neighbors if you don't want to eat any carrot soup or whatever the case may be. We don't want any of this product to go to waste. And so each week, exactly the same as the in-person classes, we're either making something or I'm sending people home with the ingredients to make. You are receiving the ingredients to make, should you want to make. I don't care if you do. I care, but The real purpose of food production 1 is not this cooking component. The real purpose of food production 1 was not making the curry. The purpose of food production 1 that week was concasse the tomato, dice the onion, mince the garlic. That's the purpose of food 1. But if we're going to do those things, we might as well turn it into something. The purpose of food 2 now is learning how to sear, grill, poach, smoke, steam, fry. It's terrible, terrible class. Y'all are going to hate it. That's why I'm so fat.
Chef, I had a question about your food 2 class.
Please go ahead, ask away.
The in-person, do you know what day of the week that is or days of the week that is?
There are 3 sections that are in person, and I believe, don't hold me exactly to the fire, but I believe there is a food 2 section Monday morning. There's a food 2 section Wednesday evening, I think. I teach a section Thursday morning, and I teach a section online. There is an AM, there are 2 AM sections and 1 PM section, and 1 online. AM, for most everything, AM is 8 AM to noon, and PM sections are 4 PM to 8. What else? Anything else? If not, go ahead, Caleb.
Sorry, one last question on Julie. Watches aren't allowed, right?
Yeah, I take mine off just kind of as an example. Watches, bracelets, bare wrists, necklaces underneath, that's fine. Even if you have a medical bracelet, when you're in the kitchen, take your bracelet off and slip it into your pocket. Yes, Evelyn, I believe that there is room in all 4 food 2 classes. Those, none of the food 2 classes are completely sold out. My Thursday morning food 2 is about to sell out. There are 3 food 2 classes, and there are 3 different instructors for the food 2 classes. And so everybody brings their own experience and their own kind of spin, but the food you'll be making, the cooking methods you'll be learning, we're all doing the same thing each week. And so I just have my areas of focus, and Chef McAfee has his, and Chef Thompson has his. And so really a matter of what time works best for you and your schedule. That's all. Anything else?
Is Chef McAfee at the country club?
Pine Bluff Country Club? Yes. He's the GM, executive chef and general manager of the club. All right, if there's nothing else, y'all have a wonderful evening. Keep cutting, keep chopping, okay? And get in any past work, get stuff done. If you need something reopened, if you were already given a 0 for something, you have to let me know to reopen it so that I can. And send me, you can fill up my text machine, and I'll be standing by and can get you registered. I'll be cooking a little dinner at the same time. So, if don't answer right away, I'll get to you 15, 20 minutes. Okey dokes. Everybody have a wonderful night. See you next week.
Have a nice night, Chef.
Thank you. Bye-bye.